Anyone knows that.
Stefan Viau holds an MFA in poetry from Louisiana State University. His work has appeared in the Colorado Review, New Delta Review, Hash, among others. He currently lives in Maryland with his family.
Sure. Hey everyone, nice to see you all. I have a story published in here called The Gift. And since it's fiction and it's about 10 pages, I can't read the whole thing, but it's about like the obsession of an idea and following an idea as a writer. Like sometimes you have an idea and you just pursue it. And then see, like, you don't know what's at the end of it, and it's kind of about my writing process, and so it's a story about writing in a way. The Gift. I'm going to read from the beginning and for about like 3 minutes, so page or two. When it first arrived on the edge of our dingy neighborhood, some thought it was an elaborate internet prank. Something would emerge from it like a flash dance that would go viral for all of a day, then disappear into the archives of past internet nothingness. Some were more alarmed. They thought it could be an explosive, set up by radical sympathizers who arbitrarily chose our neighborhood to prove that chaos has no gauges. Lila and I were living on the cusp of Verdun at the time, and we weren't even sure at first if we should consider ourselves affected by this, whatever, tragedy, calamity, joke. We heard about it from Lila's sister, who was living just next to Wellington Park, where it was left. Yeah, just a giant fucking gift box, Heidi had called Lila, and Lila put it on speaker like she usually does when anyone from her family calls. What do you mean, a giant gift box? I mean, someone just left a giant box, wrapped in a bow and wrapping paper out there. I remember interrupting, saying, "That's no surprise." To which Heidi groaned and Lila waved a hand to try to smack me. Actually, Lila and I didn't even catch sight of it until about a week later, when the police tape had already gone up around it, sectioning it off so people were only allowed to stand at about 20 meters from it. It stood perfectly in the center of the park where all the walkways converged, as tall as a camper. Literally just a gift box, bow and all. When we walked up to it, Lila snapped a few quick pictures of the whole scene with her phone, and I overheard another couple, older than us, trying to guess why the thing was donned with Mickey Mouse-themed wrapping paper. Really, it was strange. It was strange that no one had claimed it, or even that no vandals had come by in the nighttime to tear it open. Everyone was really careful about it. I remember the news stations came by at least once a day to do a quick update on what they were all calling the gift. People in the neighborhood developed their own theories about it, some thinking it was a bullshit story meant to take up media coverage so that the Prime Minister could keep making his deals to sell up parts of the province to oil companies. For a while, I sort of went along with the school of thought that claimed it was a Banksy, or that it was at least a Banksy-esque attempt. It was a sardonic finger pointed at our over-consuming culture. The Mickey Mouse wrapping paper was the hinge point of this argument. It showed that the things we buy are simply getting bigger and more extravagant, more expensive, because we've become so financially and maybe morally sedated. Lila didn't agree. She went along with the notion that it was actually really just an empty box intended as a social experiment to get people to feel all of these various contending feelings. It was meant to polarize us, cause arguments, create fights, and all for naught. That was the blag. She and I had our fair share of disputes about it when we couldn't agree, but that made me realize more and more that she was proving her point. So I'd back away and finish my dinner in the office, watching something distracting on my laptop. Things got heated everywhere when it had been over a month, and there still weren't any conclusive answers about what the hell was inside, or who had set it up. The city organized a special police task force to take over the case when the media attention was getting too heavy for the city to not react. It happened that Luc Lafond, a guy I went to high school with, whom I hadn't heard about nor remotely thought about since then, had apparently become a low-level detective in the city and was assigned to lead the investigation. And I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thanks, Stefan, Eileen, Brandon, and Josh for reading.